going to have a look at interpersonal relationships in the workplace. I would like to call the series No Man is an Island. We are all social beings by nature, constantly interacting with other human beings. We are influenced by our relationships. The connections we create with others have an influence and are critical to our social, emotional, and physical health. Theory tells us that our relationships regulate our emotions and influence our behavior in future interactions. This can be illustrated with an example. You have an important task to complete at a certain deadline. But before you can finish, you need the input of a colleague. The colleague has promised you the input today. When you follow this up, the colleague tells you that he has not even started yet and will only be able to produce in 2 days' time. You will not be able to complete your assignment in time. You are upset, disappointed, and worried about how this is going to influence your own performance. You will also find it difficult to trust this colleague in future. More likely than not, you are going to go home in a foul mood. In other words, your emotions are affected and future interactions influenced due to a relationship that failed. The nature of relationships differ depending on the context and expectations individuals have of one another. Types of interpersonal relationships can include your partner, loved ones, friends, close friends, acquaintances, co-workers, and all the other people that populate our social worlds. Research indicates that happiness at work for employees mostly comes down to the quality of the interpersonal relationship. To build strong workplace relationships, the effort must be intentional. In other words, we need to decide that we will take the trouble to foster interpersonal relationships in the workplace. From the social psychology, we learn that interpersonal relationships flourish when we take the following principles into consideration: trust, respect, communication, and boundaries. We will also, during the talk, touch upon those factors which can be considered relationship killers. Let us start with the first of the building blocks of solid interpersonal relationships, namely respect. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines respect as politeness, honor, and care shown towards someone or something that is considered important. Respect is earned and mutual. Respect is fundamental to all our interpersonal relationships, as none can exist without. To be respected, one needs to act in such a way that others find it easy to respect you. What does respect in the workplace mean? Is it addressing seniors by title, calling them Mr. or Mrs., Sir or Ma'am? It may be giving a co-worker the opportunity to complete a conversation without interrupted. Or is it being timid and agreeable to everything everybody says. Respect in the workplace is about treating everybody with politeness and care. It is about being honest and genuine and valuing the beliefs, ideas, and opinions of all that work with you, from the most junior member of staff to the executive manager. That what you say can hurt as much as your actions. If we do not understand the effect that our words and actions have on those around us, we can cause tremendous harm. Through what we say and do, we have the power to affect people's mental well-being and do immense damage to interpersonal relationships in the workplace. If we are not cautious of the way our behavior may impact on others, it can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and toxic work relationships. To foster positive relationships in the place of work, we need to be aware of the power of what we say and do, as well as the way it affects those around us. How do we show respect in the workplace? Research indicates tried and tested ways through which we can show respect in our places of work. We are going to look at a few. First, give credit where credit is due. Be sure to acknowledge and credit the efforts and accomplishments. Do not take credit for somebody else's work. When appropriate, give credit and acknowledge the work of others in public. Offer constructive feedback. Giving feedback requires being constructive and refraining from personal attacks. We need to focus on specific actions and avoid general comments. We need to make positive suggestions towards improvement. It is good to not only focus on what went wrong, but also highlight what went right. Practice active listening. We will give some more attention to this concept later. But when discussing ideas with others, actively listen. Listen to their inputs, opinions, and concerns. Do not interrupt or complete their sentences. Listen with genuine interest. Value diversity and inclusion. Show appreciation for the different perspectives and experience of co-workers. Try to learn from others who might have different viewpoints and ideas than your own. Two heads are always better than one. Think before you speak. Use language which is not offensive to others, and this includes swearing and other derogatory terms. Do not tell inappropriate jokes which would offend anybody. Be aware of personal boundaries. Again, a concept which we'll discuss in detail later. Pay attention to your co-workers' personal boundaries. Also know what your own boundaries are. Be mindful and do not pry into personal business and avoid gossiping. Watch what you say without saying a word. Research indicates that 80% of the message we convey are conveyed through non-verbal communication. Take care of your tone of voice, and body language when engaging with others. Avoid aggressive or dismissive gestures, stances, or tone of voice. Appreciate work-life balance. Nobody should only work. Everybody should be able to have a life outside work. Avoid demanding excessive work hours and intruding on personal life. You need a work-life balance, and so do your co-workers. In summary, respect in the workplace is when people admire the way you conduct yourself, both your work ethic and how you interact with co-workers. Respect needs to be mutual, and admiring and appreciating one another allows you to work together effectively with trust and collaboration. The second building block for interpersonal relationships in the workplace, which cannot exist without respect, is trust. According to the Collins Dictionary, if you trust someone, you believe that they are honest and sincere and will not do anything deliberately to harm you. What does it mean to build trust in the workplace? Trust is a critical part of all interactions that we have as humans. The ability to trust your co-workers and feel that you can rely on them is important when building interpersonal relationships. Trust allows you to have well-rounded and mutually beneficial relationships. A high level of trust creates a more positive employee experience and can also lead to a more productive workplace where people feel safe and respected. Trust among co-workers means to feel safe and confident when dealing with someone, being able to predict that someone will behave in specific ways and be dependable, and lastly, earning a level of reliability and credibility that was built up over time. How does trust work? Trust is earned and is mutual. For others to trust you, you need to be trustworthy and be able to trust them. Building trust means that through your actions, you make someone else feel comfortable relying on you, feel confident in your abilities and your intentions, and feel motivated to work with you. Let us look at a few practical ways in which to build trust in the workplace. Make sure that you do not overpromise and underdeliver. If you want people to trust you, you need to do what you promise to do. If someone is relying on you to perform a task or finish a project, you could break their trust by not completing what you should. If you know you will not be able to do something because you either have a lack of knowledge or time to spend, be honest and upfront. Communicate with co-workers. To foster trust in interpersonal relationships, it is important to communicate effectively with colleagues and leaders alike. When engaging in face-to-face communication, be aware of your tone of voice, your stance, and your body language. This will influence the way your message is conceived and reacted upon. Take the same type of care when sending an email. Ensure that you are professional, non-emotional, clear, and easy to understand. Remember, once you've pressed that send button, it is a done deal. Be honest. It is important to be honest with your leaders and co-workers. Honesty builds trust. Always tell the truth, even if it is awkward. When you are honest, you are letting your office mates know they are important to you. Own up to your mistakes. We all make mistakes, even our co-workers and supervisors. Not only is it important to admit to your mistakes and accept how your mistakes may influence the work, but always try to take steps to rectify any wrongs. Admitting that you are at fault and want to work through it is to get a better solution and show integrity. Integrity leads to trust. Take your responsibility seriously. If you're responsible for something, make sure that you take it seriously. This means that if your job involves ensuring the availability of PPE in the workplace, then make sure that it gets done. Otherwise, your managers or co-workers may need to pick up your slack by completing the task or project for you, which can keep them from trusting you as a reliable member of the team. Stick to your values. If you uphold values in the workplace, you will be able to build up trust. Having integrity requires you to be honest, behave honorably, and treat others with respect. Do not sacrifice your values and what you believe just to appease a manager or try to get ahead. Your co-workers might see the integrity, honesty, and hard work you bring to the team, and they trust that it is real. See the value of each member of the team. Everyone in your workplace is there for a reason. Whether it is their experience, knowledge base, or how willing they are to learn. When you can acknowledge the personal value of every person, you are letting them know that you see their hard work and place great emphasis on what they are contributing to the group. Getting to know your teammates can build trust because you are showing genuine interests in their personal life. Get to know your team by asking them about their weekend plans or having lunch with them with no work talk allowed. You can also celebrate birthdays, work anniversaries, and special events in the workplace. Participate in workplace activities. By choosing to be an active member of the group, you can build trust faster and more naturally. Explore ways to interact with your co-workers during meetings and beyond. A part of participating also means being willing to trust and show trust in your team rather than only trying to gain trust for yourself. Another way to build trust is by helping your teammates. If a co-worker has taken a lot of projects on and you notice they are having a hard time keeping up, offer to help. Helping also spans into courtesy. So hold doors open for your co-workers. Offer to carry heavy boxes or help them navigate a new program on their computer. When you are kind, you are letting your co-workers know that they can trust you. Be inclusive. To build trust, try to include your co-workers in work events whenever you are able. While it may be appropriate to have a favorite work buddy, try not to alienate other members of the team. Admit to lack of knowledge and experience. It is normal not to know everything at work. If a manager or a co-worker asks you about your experience in something or knowledge of a subject, be honest, because it is for the greater good of the company and can let your co-workers know that they can trust you. Build trust gradually. Trust doesn't happen overnight. It is important for you to realize that trust is built gradually. So don't be too pushy or do anything that is too out of the ordinary for you personally in an attempt to build immediate trust. These actions could have the opposite reaction and cause distrust. Instead, be genuine so others know that what you say and do is not an act and that you deserve trust. We looked at two very important building blocks for solid interpersonal relationships. We can say that trust is not possible without respect, but in a similar way, respect is not possible without trust. Both are necessary in our relationships in the workplace.